FTSE chart review, the 6th of December. Let's just look at where we are. So we've got some sideways chop. We've had a pullback this morning, or a small retrace this morning. 1 minute chart, which is still remaining, or trying to remain, as resistance. But then the 5 min chart clearly has been choppy in terms of price oscillating over the MAs. Again, maybe trying to hold as resistance. 15 min chart, still technically support. It hasn't rolled over as a resistance channel, but again, you know, it's sideways. Price is trying to reject off of these 15-minute markers, and there's a possibility it could roll over. It's certainly looking slightly weaker today. Up to the 1 hour chart still remains a support. So what we've got is the low frames trying to push price. As you can see, we've had a few tests deeper into the 1 hour support, which essentially is at around 525, supported then by the 4 hour support channel, which, give or take a pip, is sort of 27, 28, so say 25 again, for argument's sake. So you're looking at a correlation between the 200 MA on the 1 hour as support and the 50 MA on the 4 hour as support, and that's held almost to the pip this morning. So we need those low frames to confirm as resistance, specifically the 15-minute, to be honest, to roll over to give a potential bear channel, to try and break these longer time frame support markers. Okay, so that's downside. If we do push up, what I've done is drop this trend line in on the 4 hour chart here, and if we drop that in on the daily as well, if we can create some low frame resistance, then just maybe we might be seeing some kind of reversal or trend change. It certainly isn't confirmed yet, but I'm going to keep this on as a means to look at particular momentum signals back into this trend line, because you never know, this could be putting in the very first higher low, and we might see the low frame start to create some resistance, and you might see this as a marker that might hold. So for me, it's worth having on there. If the low frames can break down, creating some form of stronger resistance, specifically the 15-minute chart, which will in turn start to attack these support markers, then I'd expect the 20 MA at least to come into play on the daily chart, which at the moment is at around 470. Obviously that's time sensitive. Okay, but I keep saying it, that the 50 and the 200, they don't stay out the game for long. This is trying to create support. This is trying to create support on the daily chart. It's not confirmed as a support channel yet on the daily, but if this comes up and crosses, then the daily chart is confirmed with support. So I'd expect, you know, some kind of retrace to pick up this 50 MA. Now, obviously, again, time sensitive, we'll have to look at that later, another time. But I do see price having to pick up a daily support marker at some point, recharge, and then push for a higher high if indeed it's going to. That's if, obviously, we create some low frame resistance soon. If we don't, and the low frames hold, then this will break. This trend line will break, and you'll know that by some of the lower frame momentum signals. if you've got continuation momentum moving back into this trend line, then it will break. This was never a lower high, and the daily will put in at least a retest at 620-ish, right, or potentially a higher high. And that's confirmed obviously on the 4-hour chart, still holding support. It hasn't broken. The lower frames haven't created resistance enough to break and push into some into some lower support markers. This is the 4-hour chart. So if this holds, this trend line would break and you'd look for a retest of the high or a higher high. All right, so there's a few different scenarios that will play out. The 15-minute chart will be a key player because it's flat. It's not, it's not an aggressive bull channel to break this trend line, and conversely, it's not created a resistance channel to suggest a pullback into higher frame support markers. Okay, so we're a little bit sideways at the moment. So in terms of entries intraday, hit your markers. Stop losses can go above markers if you're hitting them short. Again, conversely, you can hit your markers if you're trading within strict setups. Stop losses can go below previous lows, or you can hit markers and stop losses can go below your lower support markers on the lower frames for intraday entries. But again, it is sideways at the moment. So we'll look again. Please excuse my coughing. I'm getting better. So we'll look again later at how this has played out. The time's 10 o'clock, so no doubt probably this afternoon, once the US comes into play, where we'll start seeing a direction instead of this sideways action that we're experiencing now so far this week, albeit with the odd pumps up and pulls and retraces down. It's still technically, from a TA standpoint, still sideways. So we'll look again later.